What is up, my good friends out there? Hope everybody is doing okay today. This video is going to be part two of our message series on life of King David. And this week we talked about the message title was David the Nobody. And here's what I want to ask you. Have you ever felt like in your life like you're just not going to measure up? Like no matter what, you're just not going to be good enough. Like you often we compare ourselves to other people, say, well, I'll never be like that guy. I don't have their gifts and their talents. Well, listen, if that's the case, if that's you today, then you are in good company. Because David went from being a nobody to obviously being a somebody when you become the king of Israel and probably the most famous guy in the Old Testament. And so, what I did was I talked about how God can turn nobodies into somebodies. And here's the first thing that I said that I think is important for us to understand. First of all, when all seems lost in your life, when all just seems lost, God is in control. Think about the magnitude of that, that God is in control no matter what's going on. David was a shepherd. A shepherd, that's like one of the lowest jobs that you could have in Israelite society, I guess. And he's a nobody, he's a shepherd. And then he gets the call or the text that says, I need, your dad needs you up here. Come on up here. There's a prophet here. He wants to talk to you. And he's now anointed as king. And sometimes when you think that nothing's going to go your way, and I'm not sure that David was thinking that. I think David may have even been content to be a shepherd because he was just serving God. But sometimes it just seems like life is out of control. And you never know when God's going to do something incredible and take you from just being the boring, mundane shepherd to putting you as king of Israel. God wants to do something great in your life. And then here's the second thing that I mentioned is that God often chooses the least of these, that's you and me, the least of these, to do his best work. Again, we have this mentality that I'm just not good enough. I don't know what I'm doing. Well, this has been around before. This is nothing new. I didn't come up with this. I've seen it on the internet. I've seen it, on people posting it different places. But think about it. Noah got drunk. Abraham was way too old. Isaac was a daydreamer. Jacob was a liar. Leah, bless her heart, was just ugly. Joseph was abused. Moses had some type of speech impediment. Gideon was fearful. Samson had long hair and he was clearly a womanizer. Rahab was a prostitute. Jeremiah and Timothy were way too young for ministry. David was an adulterer and a murderer. We'll talk about that in a few weeks. Elijah was suicidal. Isaiah preached naked. I'm not going to do that, all right? Jonah was far from God. Naomi was a widow. Job lost absolutely everything. John the Baptist ate bugs. Peter denied Jesus. The disciples fell asleep while they're praying. You ever done that before? Martha worried about everything. The Samaritan woman was divorced more than once. Zacchaeus was too small. Paul was too religious, and Timothy had an ulcer. So when we look at all that, you know what? We're in good company because everyone around us has got issues. Matter of fact, Paul said this. He said, my grace is all that you need. My power works best in your weakness. Remember, God is always in control. And then here's the third thing I want to say real quick is that when God chooses you, just say yes. Samuel was asked to go and anoint David as king. David didn't want to do it. Samuel didn't want to do it because he knew that Saul was not going to like that and Saul might kill him. But you know what? If God's in control, then we don't have to worry about the outcome. We just got to say yes. We just got to be obedient. And then finally, the last thing that I said is just be people of faith. Be people of faith no matter what. David was many things, but he was a man of faith. And here's what I think we have a tendency to do. We have a tendency to complicate our walk with God. We have a tendency to make it harder. God just simply says, trust me, put your faith in me. So that's today's message. That's a little short vignette, if you will, kind of in a condensed version of what I preached on Sunday. God wants to take you and me, who other people may have deemed as nobodies. Somebody told us we were worthless. God says, you're not. You're worth everything to me. And if you'll trust me, I'll take what seems out of control and I will use you. I will turn a nobody into somebody. I don't know about you, but that encourages me. God bless you guys. Have a great week. And I'll be back next week with part 3 of this series. Love you guys.